Hey, welcome back. It's Carlos Cavallo from datingfire.com and datingadviceguru.com. Today's video, oh boy, what does a man want? Even more important, do you know what he wants in a serious relationship with you? Men really aren't that complicated. I mean, really, we're not. When it comes to our needs in a relationship, we don't have a whole lot that you need to worry about. But you do have to be sure that you're not trying to give him something that you want instead of what he wants. So that's what we're talking about today. He does these 7 things if he wants a serious relationship with you. And before we roll on into the content of this video, make sure you do the big 3. Like and subscribe to the video. I'm sure you probably have seen some of my stuff before. You're going to like it. You'll dig it. Make sure you turn on the notifications, that little bell indicator next to the subscription button. And of course, if you have any questions or comments or you want to suggest a video, leave that in the comments below. So why do I say that? Why do I say you have to be sure you're not trying to give him what you want instead of what he wants? Well, it's one of the most common mistakes that people make. They tend to give the other person what it is they're looking for themselves in a relationship instead of what that person wants. Men don't want exactly the same things you do, or even at the same time. A lot of it overlaps, sure, but you have to know how men think and when we think it, to really give us what we're looking for at the right time. Some of the advice you've probably heard that men want, right? Here's some of the things you've probably been told. You got to get to his heart through his stomach, cook for him, satisfy him in the bedroom like no one else, be a difficult bitch with him, be nice to him and never ask for anything. Now the problem with this kind of advice is that there are small bits of truth in them. They've got what they call truthiness in them, but the unfortunate part is that it's not explained, so you're going to make a ton of mistakes trying to apply that kind of advice. So let's jump into the first want that men have in a serious relationship, which is safety first. One of the most important things the guys are looking for in a relationship is safety. It's not physical safety he needs, it's emotional safety. That's right, you need physical and emotional safety, but he definitely needs emotional safety. Men understand that they are not as well equipped for handling their emotions. They know that they don't have the same kind of emotional IQ that a woman does. Women are better at relationships, while men are better at rising to the challenge and chasing and hunting you. He puts in the energy to get that relationship off the ground. But he does understand it's at a very primal level that he needs a woman who will keep him in a safe bubble, a safe emotional bubble for him to express and show his feelings. This is really, really big, so pay attention. This requires you to be stronger and smarter as a woman. So how do you make a man feel safe? Well, it just so happens that I created a program to help women do this called the Connection Code, and you can see that at my site, because it takes a lot of understanding for how men work and to know how to do this right. But briefly, the way you make him feel safe is to make sure he never feels like he's going to be insulted or shamed or put down by you for expressing any emotion. Okay? Men grow up knowing that if they express emotions in front of another man who is not himself a mature and balanced person, he's probably going to get ridiculed. He might even get beaten up. I'm serious, this actually does happen to guys, especially when we're younger and we're boys. Women don't typically ever experience that kind of thing. This feels horrible to a man, probably the worst thing he can experience. If he even suspects that you're going to react negatively to him, you'll never get him to connect with you. He will simply use you for physical intimacy and move on to the woman who does show him safety like that. One of the best ways to explain this is to give you an example of when he doesn't feel safe. Here's one time he doesn't usually feel safe, and that's during listening. A man needs to know he's going to be heard by you when he talks about his feelings or the difficult things that he's experiencing at that moment. Unfortunately, what many women do is to ruin this sense of safety when he's talking about his feelings. Very often what she'll do is she won't listen to him completely. She'll also typically interrupt him to move him forward with the conversation faster, because you get impatient, right? You get impatient when he's taking so darn long to explain himself. And so she jumps in, she tries to get there first, tries to help him. It's well-meaning, but unfortunately what it does is it feels like a disconnect, and then he shuts right down. Now there's a pretty good chance you've experienced this in a relationship with a guy, especially in conversation. Unfortunately, you may have not noticed when it happened, but I can tell you, he noticed. Oh yeah, he did. And he went on guard and made a decision to be very, very careful about doing that ever again with you. Of course, you would have fixed this in the moment if you had known what was going on and when it happened. This is why it's so important to understand how men connect and how to see these little signals that men give off. Stuff that I show you. You see, the problem here is if you don't catch this and fix it, it's like starting one of these little kitchen timers on the end of your relationship. This is why I teach in my programs and coaching from a man's point of view. That's something I can do for you that no other female dating and relationship advisor can really do. Want number 2 is he wants to chase you. This one's tricky, but I have to make sure you know about it. Far too many women are chasing men these days. It's huge. It's a big, I would call it an epidemic, okay? You've got pandemics and you've got an epidemic. This one's an epidemic. There was a time when I could have just left it at that. Not too long ago, women knew that chasing men was a really bad idea. You tell her that and she'd be like, oh, I'm doing it, I'll stop. But now, a lot of women don't understand this concept of playing a little bit hard to get. Today, again, it's an epidemic. One of the most common situations that I coach women on who are losing the man they love is that they are also chasing him everywhere. And as a result, she's scaring him off. Now, a guy will not go into a serious relationship with you unless you allow him to chase you. This is what we're born to do. You may have heard that men are hunters. This is one of the most important things for you to recognize about men. Men absolutely want to hunt you and win you. If you're chasing him, there's no way he can ever hunt you. You don't see antelope hunting down the tigers to get eaten. In fact, it's the most disappointing experience that a guy can have in a relationship is when the woman starts chasing him. Think about it like this. If every football team got a Super Bowl ring and a trophy at the start of the season, do you think they'd work all that hard to get to the Super Bowl? And this is probably the most obvious and dumbest question you've ever heard, but I have to ask it. The obvious answer is no, they wouldn't work very hard. They would probably just coast all the way through the season. They wouldn't want to get injured or hurt. They wouldn't train very hard because they wouldn't have to win. Now, don't fool yourself. We work hardest for something we haven't won yet, something that we don't have yet. This is a universal fact of life, a rule, and yet this is exactly the rule that women are breaking and messing up when they chase men. When they give in too easily, when they text him all the time, when they tell him they love him all the time, when they do all the work. There's just so many ways that women chase men and scare them out of relationships. If you're doing this right now, make a resolution to never chase him again, please. It's a man's job to chase women, not the other way around. If anyone is telling you any different out there, they're lying to you and destroying your chances at a happy relationship. It sounds horrible, but it's true. You know deep down inside, if you want him to desire you, and you know you want that, and you know you want him to show it. The only way to get him to do this is to get him to chase you. End of story. Want number 3 that he wants is respect. This is one area that men and women are exactly alike in. We both want respect in our relationships. Interestingly though, men want to see it a little bit differently than you might see it. A man needs to feel respected for his ability to provide and take care of you. That's the one kind of respect he absolutely needs to have. Again, one of the best ways to explain this is through the use of a negative example. One of the ways that women show that they do not respect their man is by belittling him or diminishing him as a man. It could be as simple as a small, sly little comment you snuck into the conversation or you made to your friends in his presence, or even when he's not around. If you do this, there are a million ways we show disrespect, most of which we probably don't even realize we're doing. One of the best things you can do is to ask him how he likes to feel respected. I'll bet you've never done that before, have you? Oh, amazing. Ask him what things in the past have made him feel respected, and then be quiet. Listen with every ounce of attention you have, and he will give you the keys to the castle. Trust me on this one. It's huge. Give him some passes. This is want number 5. Give him some passes. Let's face it, none of us is perfect. Least of all your man. The unfortunate thing is that most women want to perfect their man beyond a rational limit. They don't understand that sometimes you got to leave a few things in the rough, okay? Guys are always going to have some rough edges. Always. You're always going to have some rough edges yourself. Beware this tendency to try and perfect him, to change him, to make him into somebody he might not even be. He doesn't want to feel like your perpetual self-improvement project. You have to give him a pass every so often. He's going to have qualities you simply can't change. You might not like them, so you might as well get used to them and not get activated and upset over them. Okay? I guarantee you, he's giving you a pass on a lot of your qualities. Now, you might wonder, Carlos, you're missing some of the wants you were telling me. You can get all of these wants in the article on the site. Go on over to datingfire.com, go to the blog, and check out the article on his wants for a serious relationship. Want number 7 is appreciate him and accept him. If you really want a serious relationship with him, you better really grasp this particular want he has. If there's one thing that will make a man bond to you and love you for the rest of his life, it's how much you appreciate and accept him for who he is. In fact, this is kind of tied into that whole respect thing. If you're just accepting him already, that hits on two of those previous wants I've told you about. Even if he's not doing the best job of it, he still needs to be appreciated to keep going. And that's part of the whole equation that might boggle and puzzle you a little bit. He might not be the brightest bulb in the socket, but he expects to be treated like the king of his castle. This is going to rub you wrong if you think that he wants something from you that is out of line with the value that he's actually bringing to your relationship. But the truth is, you'll never get a man by making him feel anything less than the king. Let me say that again. You've got to make him feel like the king. And if you make him feel like a king, guess who gets to be the queen? Bingo. No matter how much you might feel he does not deserve it, he feels he deserves it. He doesn't care what you feel he deserves. He wants to feel that way. And if you don't feel he deserves it, why are you there in the first place? No, you don't have to cater to his ego and make him think he's something he's not, some, hot guy or something like that. This does not mean you have to make yourself feel like the court jester or that you need to constantly inflate his ego falsely or play to him. But you're kidding yourself if you think that you can be the king. You can be the king, and he will be happy with that. No, no, no. There's too much confusing and inaccurate information out there today about our gender roles in normal heterosexual relationships. There's too much of this stuff out there. That's why I'm here. Of course, you could also give him a realistic amount of feedback along the way. That's something you can do. If he's being a whiny brat, put him back in his place. The one thing you must do is make sure that he knows you appreciate him and accept him for who he is right now. Right now. This is why women who make men their self-improvement projects usually fail, because they're breaking this rule right out of the gates. If a man doesn't feel accepted by you, he'll never reveal his true emotions to you. He will never commit to you, and he will never consider you as the one. The one doesn't do that to him. If you're having trouble accepting him in this moment, then you probably won't be able to accept him in future moments either, okay? You won't be able to accept him later on. And if you find it hard to make him feel good about himself in your relationship, that's a huge problem. Ask yourself, what is it that's keeping you from feeling that he's just fine the way he is? Did you possibly settle for somebody you shouldn't have? Is he more of a fixer-upper than you should have taken on? I mean, do you have exceptionally high standards? This is really worth looking at, because if you want to give a man what he wants in a serious relationship, you have to be able to make him feel empowered in this moment. In the end, you have to know what a man wants to feel in your relationship if you're going to be his forever woman. Now, what I've done is I create videos and I create programs all about that. How to make him desire you and how to make him love you no matter what. You've got to be able to break through the shells that guys have around their heart. There's a reason we put them there, and I'll tell you why. Men know that we don't have the same kind of emotional intelligence that you have. We don't have the same relationship smarts. We don't have the interpersonal and intrapersonal smarts that you do. So what do we need? We need help. And we often look to our romantic partner to help us with that. Now, you might have questions about your guy. You might have questions about, is this the guy I'm supposed to be with? Is he really going to be my soulmate? Does he still love me? Tons of questions about, is this relationship going to be the one for you? And should you stick it out, or should you move on to the next guy? You can answer those questions really easily once you understand what's going on. If you want to ask a question of me, go ahead and do it. Go to this link you see below me here. That's datingfire.com/ask Carlos. datingfire.com/ask Carlos. I've got a quick and easy question form. I try to get back to as many people as I possibly can. Just send me your question. And if you don't even have a question right now, but you're just wondering how the heck to learn more about guys and make relationships work for you, well, there's something I've got for you. Go there, go to datingfire.com/ask Carlos. You don't have to put in a question. Just put your email in, and I'll send you my free ebook on the 7 mistakes that make men pull away. There's a lot of mistakes you might be making right now, and you want to know if this guy is going to be the one for you. The real reasons that men run from relationships, how to know if he's really still interested in you, if he's afraid to commit, is he one of those commitment phobes? You can find out. I'll tell you the straight truth in the ebook. Go on over to datingfire.com/ask Ask Carlos. Hey, that's all I got for you today, but I know you're eager to run over to another Carlos video. Before you do the big three before you run away. Make sure you like and subscribe. You stuck around this long? Why not do it? Because I got more good stuff coming real soon. Turn on the notifications so you know when the next one comes out. And of course, leave me your questions and comments down below. Hey, this is Carlos Cavallo from datingfire.com and datingadviceguru.com. It's great seeing you. Come back again, watch more, and I'll have more great dating advice for you. As always, live and love with passion.